Hi everyone. I've got another book review for you, trying to keep to my word about getting somewhat regular book reviews to you on a regular basis. Uh, the review I want to share with you today is a volume of autobiography by maybe one of the best known writers of the 20th century, who happens to be Vladimir Nabokov. And his volume of autobiography is called, there you can see it right there, Speak Memory. Speak Memory. So, anyone familiar with Nabokov's sort of prodigious ability to recall things and objects and memories from his childhood would know that the Homeric invocation to speak memory is highly unnecessary, because he can kind of do it without needing the help of the muses. No divine intercession is really necessary or needed to assist him in his sort of humbling ability to take a thread of meditations and draw from them something profound, beautiful, and many times breathlessly articulate out of them. This is a man whose first memories, at least according to this book, date from the time of maybe 2 or 3 years old. Apparently, this is more common than I thought, as I struggle personally to remember anything before about the beginning of elementary school. Apparently, not that many people are as bad as I am, but you're not here to hear about my life, but Nabokov's. Because if ever there was someone who deserved or needed to write an autobiography, I should say, it was him. He led a fascinating life. He was born into what we would call minor Russian aristocracy during the last gasps of Tsarist Russia in 1899. He enjoyed a boyhood that most people of privilege today would envy. He lived in what amounted to be a mansion in Russia, whose every nook and cranny and blade of grass he can detail for you with sort of unrepentant glee. And in some sections of the book, he actually does do that. He had a bevy of tutors who came and went for various reasons, teaching him everything from mathematics to science to natural history to music, and drawing too. The latter was sure to come in handy for one of his lifelong passions that he would develop later, which is his passion for lepidoptery. For those of you who don't know what lepidoptery is, that is the scientific study of not only butterflies, but also moths. For being an autobiography, and especially considering how full of himself Nabokov can sometimes be, I found the book to be unusually full of humor, and sometimes even self-deprecating humor. It has a kind of selflessness to it, and it has the innocence and the naivete of someone who would have trouble imagining growing up in any other set of circumstances. Despite the ways that his privileges were chastened by tragedies, like the 1922 assassination of his father in Berlin, he never seems to be unable to escape from a world where everyone comes from that same kind of wealth, that same kind of privilege, where everyone was sort of a worldly polyglot, and everyone had a drawing tutor, from the age of 2. For anyone who has read Pnin, or Lolita, or perhaps Pale Fire, 3 of his most well-known novels, Nabokov's ostentatious, precocious, sometimes full of himself style is sometimes on display here too in his autobiographical writing. Despite English not being his first or even his second language, those would have been Russian and French, his mastery of the language, English, it just shimmers. It just comes off the page. He writes much, much better than most native English speakers would. And that's probably why he has the literary reputation that he does, right? But it can also come off as occasionally a bit pretentious or unnecessary. There are, even for extremely well-read people who have highly impressive vocabularies, words on pretty much every second or third page, which could send you running for a dictionary. I don't have any examples offhand. I didn't write them down as I read the book, but it's nice to have a cell phone or an actual, OED by you as you read the book. It comes in handy. As far as the actual content of the book goes, there's nothing really that linear or narratively driven about it, about the arc of the story. It's sort of like a series of loosely connected vignettes that sort of delicately hang together to create a story. Some of it consists of flashbacks to his childhood in pre-revolutionary Russia. Much more of it discusses his relatives as far back as his great-grandparents. Considering how renowned a chess player he was, that was one of his other non-writing interests, he leaves his ruminations on the game for the final coda of the book, quite literally the last few pages, which is a brief meditation on the son that he and Vera raised together. Vera is his wife. There are, however, plenty of little discussions sort of flittered throughout the book. Wonderful disputations on the joy of catching butterflies and moths. Nabokov is known for his strong opinions about literature and its worth. In fact, Strong Opinions is the name of a book of occasional literary pieces and reviews that I have also posted a review of here on my channel. If you're interested in seeing it, you can just go to the search and look for Strong Opinions. It's mostly reviews of books, interviews of Nabokov, and things like that. Other occasional stuff. But despite the occasional barb that he throws here in the autobiography, for example, he's not a big fan of Émile Zola. He's somewhat of a mediocrity, if you ask him. This isn't the place to find Nabokov engaging in sort of gratuitous body slamming of other people's literary reputations. At the end of the day, there's really something quite inwardly and reflectively beautiful about Speak Memory that almost never turns self-indulgent. It's by turns philosophical, meditative, playful, and really quite extraordinarily readable. Speak Memory by Vladimir Nabokov. Bye, guys.